afternoon, all. I'm R.V. Kiran, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering. Today, in this video lecture, I am going to explain you about the last topic in the fourth unit, that is the chain drives. So we have already discussed about the types of belt drives, that is the flat belt drive and the V belt drive. Today we are going to see about chain drives. So that is the last topic in this chapter. So chain drives, coming to the chain drives. So a chain is a power transmission element, so which are made in a series of pins which are connected in the links. So these are the chain links, and this is the hinge between two chain links. So we are going to connect the all the chain links by using a hinge, that is the intermediate link, and it is connected to the sprocket. So this is the smaller sprocket and this is the larger sprocket. So with the help of the sprocket, the chain links are going to be rotate the shaft. So this then provides the, so this design is going to provide flexibility. So high standard of flexibility while transmitting the large tensile forces. So when you are uploading the large tensile forces, so these are going to be used. So that is the chain drives with the help of the sprockets. And when we are going to transmitting power between rotating shafts, the chain engages mating tooth wheels, which is called as sprockets. So the mating tooth technology is called as the sprockets. So that is the transmitting motion power between two rotating shafts. So this is called as the sprockets. So in the picture you can see the sprockets, that is the smaller sprocket pulley or pinion, and this is the largest sprocket. So these larger sprocket is called as the gear and the smaller sprocket is called as pinion. So two types of names have been evaluated for the two sprocket links, that is the gear and the pinion. Next, these chain drives are used to transmit rotational motion and torque from one shaft to the other. So these are going to be transmit the rotational motion highly, which is used to transmit the rotational motion from one shaft to the other shaft. So that is the basic work of these rotating shaft or chain drive. And these are very smooth, quietly and inexpensive in ratio. So comparing to the belt drives, these chain drives are very smoothly running technology and it is quietly used for it and inexpensive in nature. They are lesser expensive than the other materials and they provide the flexibility of a belt drive with the positive engagement feature of a gear drive. So this provides the flexibility of a belt drive to use more positive engagement feature of a gear drive. And these are suited for applications with large distances, that is up to 8 meters. So the distance between the two respective shafts is going to be 8 meters. So the distance provide the respective shaft slow speed and high torque in nature. And these are more complex in design than the belt drives. So generally the design of the chain drives is more complex than the belt drive. Next, coming to the types of chains. So they are classified into two types. So these types of chains are classified into two types. First one is the basis of use. So based upon the usage, they are going to be classified into three types. First one is the hoisting and hauling chain drives. So it has a chain speed of 25 meters per second. So which has a very high chain speed. Second type is the conveyor type. So this conveyor type has less than 8 meters per second and greater than 3 meters per second speed. And last one is the power transmitting chain drives. So this is up to greater than 3 meters per second. So these are the different types of chain drives we are going to use on the basis of usage. So in these three types, first one is the hoisting and hauling type. So in the hoisting type, they are going to lift the heavy trucks or heavy bogies, that is the railway bogies or any other thing. And next one is the conveyors. So these conveyors we can see it in the airports and other conveyor belts. So when we are going to transmit the load amount of loads from one place to another, we are going to use the conveyor chain drives. So we can use it in the escalators also, which is seen in the shopping malls, etc. So we can see the escalators as chain drive functionality, that is chain drive conveyors. And last one is the power transmission one. And next second type is the basis on the construction. So it is based on the construction. So first one is the roller chains based on the construction. Next one is these rotate on the teeth of a sprocket. Next one is the rollerless chains. So it is rollerless chains, no roller links is followed in the, and these are used on lifts and hoists. So hoists and lifts can be used in these. And last one is the silent chains. So sometimes it is called as inverted tooth chain, and these are used at the speeds and loads which are higher than the roller chains. So when you are going to use at higher speeds, this type of chains is very useful. And last one, the sprocket is different shape and the groove are in the middle of the chain drive. So these are the difference when you have to take in the basis of the construction. So next one we are going to the types of chains. First one is the roller chain. So these chains are made from a series of interconnected links. So these are the series of interconnected links. So these are the connected links which are formed by the hinges. So this is the roller chain. So a roller chain is the most common type of chain used for the power transmission. So in the day-to-day life, we are going to use the roller chain as the most common type of chain used in the daily purpose. And these large roller chains are rated to 450 kilowatts. So for high power transmission, the roller chains has been used large roller chains, and the roller chain design provides the quiet and efficient operation, but must be lubricated. So these must be lubricated. Next one is the multiple stranded roller chain. So in these multiple stranded roller chains, these are used to increase the amount of power transmission by the chain drive. So when you are going to um, when you're going to change power transmitted, you are going to use this drive, and a multi-stranded factor has been experimentally determined. So this has to be determined in that. And power per chain. So if power per chain is taken as total power transmitted per multi-stranded factor. Next one is the chain drive geometry. So these are to be chain drive geometry. So this is the tight side of the drive, that is whether it is belt drive or the chain drive. So it is considered to be tight side, and this side is considered as the slack side. And from the center to center, it is the distance between the two shafts of the chain drive. So it is considered as the distance between the two shafts, and it has two diameters, that is the diameter D1 and diameter D2. So theta 1 and theta 2 are the angle of contact. So they are said to be the angle of contact, and VC is the velocity drive. So the velocity in which the chain drive is going to be done. So N1 and N2 are the speeds in which they are going to rotate. So the number of teeth n is the sprocket is commonly referenced property. So generally the speed and the velocity ratio is done by the sprocket in the notation of the speed n, and the sprocket should have at least 17 teeth. So they should have at least 17 teeth unless they operate at very low speeds under 100 rpm. So these are operated at low speeds under 100 rpm, and the larger sprocket should normally have no more than 120 teeth. So it should be less than 120 teeth. And next, it is preferable to have an odd number of teeth on the driving sprocket, that is 17 or 19, 21, or this type of odd number of teeth, and an even number of pitches, that is the links in the chain drive, to avoid a special link. So this is used to avoid the special link. Next one is the general recommendations for the design chain drives. So when you are going to design the chain drives, you need to be verify that it has a minimum number of teeth in a sprocket, that should be 17, unless the drive is operating at a very low speed. So it should be operate at a very low speed under 100 rpm. So that should be of 100 rpm. Then the maximum speed ratio should be of 7.0. So the speed ratio should be 7:0. Although higher ratios are feasible, two or more stages of the reduction can be used to achieve higher ratios. So these are going to be used at higher ratios, and the center distance between the sprocket axis should be approximately 30 to 50 pitches. That is 30 to 50 times the pitch of the chain drive, and the largest sprocket should normally have no more than 120 teeth. So that should be of less than 120 teeth. So these are the general recommendations for the chain drive. And the preferred arrangement for a chain drive is within the center line of the sprockets, that is the horizontal, and with the tight side on the top position. Then chain length L and the center distance C and number of teeth in the sprocket, that is L for the chain length, C for capital C for the center distance, and Z1 for the number of teeth in the small sprocket, and this should be number of teeth in the larger sprocket also, and capital L is taken as, that is 2C plus Z2 plus Z1 by 2. That is, the length is taken as 2 into center of distance plus Z2 plus Z1 by 2 plus Z2 minus Z1 by 4 pi square C whole square. So that should be the formula for the chain length. So the total chain length. So these QC indicates the tight side and the slack side distances, and Z1 and Z2 are the number of teeth in the driver sprocket and the driven sprocket. That is the larger sprocket and the smaller sprocket. Then it should be modified as C is equal to 1 by 4 into L minus Z2 plus Z1 by 2. Then the pitch diameter of a sprocket with Z teeth for a chain with a pitch of P, that is capital D, is taken as P by sine of 180 degrees by Z value. So that is taken as the P by sine of 180 degrees by Z value. So the minimum sprocket diameter and therefore the minimum number of teeth in a sprocket are often limited by the size. And capital D, it is made based on the size of the shaft on which it is used to be mounted. So that is to be mounted on it. And we are going to check the sprocket catalog also, the catalog of the sprocket. Then the arc of contact, that is the theta one of the chain on the smaller sprocket, should be greater than 120 degrees. So it is of greater than 120 degrees angle, and theta 1 is taken as 180 degrees minus 2 sine inverse d2 minus d1 by 2c. That is the arc of contact for the smaller sprocket, that should be less than 120 degrees. And for the reference, the arc of contact T2 of the largest sprocket is, so for the largest sprocket also we are going to take the angle, that is theta 2 is equal to 180 degrees plus 2 sine inverse d2 minus d1 by 2c. So that is the arc of contact for the larger sprocket. Next one is the lubrication. So it is essential that adequate lubrication has been provided for the chain rails. So you need to lubricate the chain rails for every ascension of time. And there are numerous moving parts within the chain along with the interaction between the chain and the sprocket tree. So you have to verify all the moving parts of the chain, whether it is intersected correctly or not, or aligned correctly, and it must be defined the lubricating properties and the method of the lubrication. That must be the lubricating properties and the method of the lubrication drive. And next one, the recommended lubricant for the chain race. So you have to take the temperature and the recommended lubricant here. So you can see it in the picture. So this is the ambient temperature and this is the recommended lubricant. So it is in the foreign degrees and centigrades. So first you have to verify the first one, that is 20 to 40 Fahrenheit, and it is of -7 to 5 degrees centigrade. So SAE 20 type lubricant is used for that, for the chain drive. And next one, it is of 40 to 100 Fahrenheit and which is of 50 to 38 degrees centigrade. So it has a recommended lubricant of SAE 30. So similarly, for the other chain drives of the ambient temperature, we are going to take the recommended lubricants as SAE 40 and SAE 50. So these are the recommended lubricants for that. So generally, this lubrication is used to run the chain drives very smooth in action. So generally, nowadays the chain drives has been very commonly used in larger power transmission. So that's why we are going to verify the lubrication for each and every point. So you have to verify the lubrication is correctly done or not for every part of the chain drive, and the loose has been correction for the each and every link. So for each and every link of the chain, you have to verify whether it is correctly noted or not. Next one is the advantages of chain drives. So first one is the it does not slip. So comparing to the belt drives, these chain drives does not slip due to the sprocket linking. So the sprocket linking to the chain linkage. So that is why these are not going to slip. But the flat belt drives is going to get some slippage. So we are going to calculate the slip percentage of the belt drives also. So that's why there is no slip for the chain drives because of the sprockets and the chain linkage. Second one, it is the maintain constant and precise speed. So it has very constant speed according to the differentiating with the other belt drives, because for the other belt drives there is an amount of slippage and creep, but in the chain drives there is no amount of slip and creepage. So that is why it is going to use the maintain constant speed and precise speed, and it has good service life. So the life of the chain drives is far more better than the belt drives. So it has very good service life, and it is easy to install and repair. So it is easy to install and repair. Next one, it has high transmission efficiency. So the chain drives have very high transmission efficiency than the belt drives. And next one is the disadvantage of the chain drives. So what are the negative points? There is the disadvantage of these chain drives. First one, it is somewhat noisy in nature. So it has some smoothness, but the noise made by the chain drives is little bit greater than the belt drives. So in that point, it is somewhat noisy in nature. The next one, it needs lubrication. So the main point of the chain drives is it should have lubrication in every constant point and should be maintained with good lubrication. But for the belt drives, it does not need any types of lubrication. So that is why it has some weight of maintenance, and it is costly in nature. And third one, it is the weight of the chain. So the weight of the chain is also one of the disadvantage. So it can handle higher efficiency, that is higher weight nature inlets, and they are costly, which is compared to belt drives. So these chain drives are very costly compared to the belt drives. So these are the different disadvantages of these chain drives. So whenever the main point is these 2 points, first one is the noisy and second one is the lubrication. So these are out and out for different types of properties, that is according to the noise and lubrication. So in the chain drive, belt drive, there is no amount of noise occurring, but in the chain drive, the noise is occurring in the operation. And second one, the lubrication is not at all done in the belt drives. So no amount of lubrication is done there, but here lubrication is done in very uh, continuous approach. Third one is the weight. So the belt drives are also containing some type of weight, so it does not comes to in account. And the costly, so the chain drives are also costly when compared to the belt drives. So these are the different advantages and disadvantages of these chain drives. By this, I am going to end this class. Thank you.